Hey guys, how's it going? It is December 21st, 2023, and I'm going to do a little bit of a tutorial here. I'm in Bryson. I'm just leaving off. I wish I had done this before, but actually this works out pretty good because I'm going to be handling a few different topics here. So, first and foremost is kicking. What you see here is the result of cars that have been kicked. Now if you hit tab, you get to see everything that is in play. So for example, this one here's got Bryson Bridge Spur, Appalachian Hardwoods. They're all together because basically they go the same direction. I don't have the expansion past Bryson, so the end of the line is Standard Oil, Appalachian Hardwoods, and the Bryson Bridge site, which I am currently in the progress of expanding. Everything else, and by the way, this is a tier 5. Kind of regret going to tier 5 at the moment for various reasons, but I'm actually going to be going back down to tier 4, which cost me a pretty penny, but that's okay. That's another story. Tab gives you everything that's here. So what I've done here is I've kicked Bryson Freight House in this track, the Bryson Team Track in this track here, and now the Bryson Freight House I didn't kick hard enough, so it came to a stop here, and it's actually fouling that. That's okay. There's ways around that. You can bring the engine back down. You need to kick far enough. So first of all, why do you kick? Why bother? Why not just bring the cars down? Why not bring the engine down, drop them off, come back out? It seems simpler, right? It's all about less moves. So for example, in this move right here, before I get to the switch, I am able to go ahead and bring cars all the way down to the other end here. Very similar to what I did here, actually, because here's the caboose that came in on this train, and we got the Bryson Bridge site. So you can see everything is already down at the other end. I only took off what I needed to kick, that I wanted to deal with first and foremost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to do this. First of all, tab gives you that. So that's first and foremost, you need to see that. You're fortunate enough that at the interchange they actually do group them pretty good, but they don't group it perfectly. You're the one that's going to have to decide that. In Bryson, you have what's called facing point and trailing point spurs. The trailing point is like this industry here is a trailing point spur, whereas a facing point spur is, let me see if I got an example here. A facing point spur, I know there is one. That's trailing point, that's trailing point. So a facing point spur would be this industry right over here, which is the, whatever you call it. It's over here. Let me just tell you what it is by looking at this, because I can tell you where this is all going. So where I have sorted right now is the Bryson Freight House, which is straight up directly behind me. I have the Bryson Lumber and Coal, which is in this house. That's the one that we were looking at further down. We've got the rest that's going down further west. We've got the Bryson Team Track, which is right across over by the station. And we've got everything that's going to be on this train, which is basically going to go back with the train. I figured I'll put it down this track because it's the closest to it. So you want to set up your switches first and foremost. You can run around, walk around, do whatever you want. That is fine. In order to get access to your engines, you press Control over where it says RTS1 for my engine, and then you've got Control here. From here you want to hit Select, which gives you these controls. Now visibly they're just showing you for manual controls. We're not going to be using the manual controls. We're exclusively going to be using the AI controls for this. If you want to do it manually, there is ways of doing it. It's just a little bit more complicated. It can be done, and there are ways of doing it. There's ways of setting it up, but I find this to be the easiest thing to do is to act as the conductor, the brakeman, climb up, deal with the cars, set them out where you want to be. This engine stops on its own by AI. You're all set. So we're going to begin here, and I will show you an example of what we need to do as far as setting up for the kicking. Now, you'll notice on each car, every car has all these ladders all over the place. You can ride a ladder like this. There's some ladders that don't go to the top. That one does. Some cars are different where you have this just a partial ladder where you can just go to here. Now, what I want to do, we've set our switch. What I want to do is I want to ride here. If I ride along the side, I don't have access to the knuckle. So what I like to do is I like to ride right in here, and then I can look down like this. If you want to know where you are, you can press the Q key to peek out over here. However, be warned, if you are peeking out and you go back to this, it is not going to show you the coupler. You need this coupler, and I'll show you why. What we're going to do from here is we're going to go into the orders. Currently it's set a reverse at 0. You have 3 modes. You have manual, which you can control all these manually if you wish. Generally, for me personally, the only time I use manual, and this is my preference only, a lot of people like driving the trains as well, I like being a conductor. I like being a train master. I like being a yard master. So manual, the only time I use manual is to line up an engine perfectly for water and coal, or to get by a red signal that the AI is incapable of getting by. The AI will not go through a red signal. The AI in drive mode will not go to a car. It will stop shy of it. We're going to use that to its advantage. You can use the yard mode, but you're going to have variable speeds. We want to have a speed that we can count on. So by doing that, we get to go further. What I want to do is I want to get ourselves set up. The plan here is we're going to kick these cars far down to the other end of the yard. To do that, we're going to want some speed. We're not worried about precision. Now, of course, we want to be able to touch the brakes fast enough to be able to stop it, but we're not worried about precision here. All we want to do is make sure that we get the cars to the other end of the yard. You can do some that are smaller, that are like 10 miles an hour. If you're trying to kick cars into other cars, that's possible too, but you want to make sure you're down to 5 miles an hour. You can start at 10, like a kick of 10. The cars will slow down slowly, or it will accelerate to 10, and you can kick it at 5. It all happens very quickly. So what we're going to do is go into road mode. We are backing up. Let me stop that. It was already set to 15. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set it at 15 miles an hour, which is going to give us, so we're already looking out that way. We got plenty of room here. We're going to go ahead and accelerate to 15 miles an hour. We're going to start moving. The key here that you have to be aware of is once you start moving, things start happening. What we want to do is press shift and click the knuckle. It's very similar to pressing shift and the glad hands. When you press shift and click the glad hands, it's just not connecting them together. What it's doing is it's also turning all the air, the angle cocks on, so that the air can go through. What clicking shift and clicking the coupler does is it closes both angle cocks so that the air is bottled up, and that's exactly what we want, and we want to do it at the last minute. So this is what's going to happen, and you screw up, you'll learn with practice. I might even screw up, so I got one chance to make this right. So let's go ahead, and 15 miles an hour, you're going to be wanting to pay attention to the speed gauge. Normally your engineer would help and communicate back and forth with the conductor. We don't have that, but we do have the ability to see the speed. The speed is important. But for the sake of going here, we want to go at about 15 and get prepared to press and hold shift and click the coupler. Remember, when you're going like this, you cannot see. You have to bring yourself back in to do this. Here we go. Speed is going up. We can take a look. We got plenty of time. Take a look one more time. Still plenty of time. We're up to about 12. And we're going to press and hold shift right now. The reason why that stopped, let's stop the train. This is the train. The reason why the train stopped, I will explain in a moment. Now what we want to do is go ahead and climb all this. So this is our cut. Now this part I don't know. I don't know how you jump across a tank. It's kind of a rounded object. So now you play Super Mario Brothers and get yourself to the other end. What you're looking for is the brake. You can use the brake here. Now we're almost there. The cars will gradually slow down, but they do have a lot of roll to them. If you don't stop the train, he will follow you. The reason why he stopped was because he was in road mode and he saw a train in front of it and it immediately stopped. We better hit those brakes right now. Let's do 2 of them. And there we go. Instead of running the train all the way down, what we just did is we kicked this train because it's heading east. We're not going to deal with it here. So this is going to be our train coming out. It's also right by the caboose, which we can also tack on towards the end. We're going to leave. We're going to bring the caboose with us probably, just because it's in the way of Bryson here. So we'll probably end up bringing it down right behind the engine. We're going to leave this one track open. We know we're coming down here, so let's line this up. There's a drill track at Bryson as well if you need it. Instead of coming out on the main line, you can drill yourself if you ever want to switch from this end. Now today we switched from the other end. It was just easier. If you ever want to go faster, press and hold shift and click jump. It really gets you there. Of course you can teleport too. So now we're going to set a switch to go around. We're already set up here. We're going to flick this switch. And we had plenty of room too. We didn't even cut the crossing here. And then we can go ahead and hop aboard here. Wow, we're going to need some water here before we go too much further. I'll have to remember that. I think we have enough to do our one move, but after that, we don't have much more room. But hopefully we do. And if not, I'm going to be rescuing something. Where's my water here anyways? It's not that far away. Let's just move ahead and do the water. I hate to do this in a tutorial, but here's where I use manual as well too. I'll show you. So we can go ahead and we can set forward here. Put ourselves at 15 miles an hour. Better be safe than sorry, and oh, that was my fault. Let me see if I can jump on the top here. I might be able to, I may not. It looks like I could. Okay, I knew that was there. We'll just go ahead. So the benefits of the AI is you want to get on at about 10 miles an hour. I find that's a good speed to get on. Otherwise, it's going too fast. So this is where the AI comes into handy. You use road basically when you want to get from point A to point B and not actually deal with cars. We're going to get into the yard section in a minute. So here's our water. I might be able to time it right. Don't have much room, so I got to be careful there. Let's see if I got it close. Well, that's not bad. You can try to, if you can try to play around. Sometimes I'll do that. So I will go into yard mode here, and we're in 4. I'll go about half a car and try to stop it. So I want to line up right there. So you can go half a car, but you can tell him to stop ahead of time. Keep in mind he's going to be rolling. And that's probably went too far, but we'll see. It's going down. Nah, I didn't like it. Okay, so what you do here, this is the only place I use manual. You may use it all the time. It's perfectly fine. Put it in reverse, take off the brakes, and just give ourselves a little bit of smudge here. I think that should do it. We weren't that far off. There we go. It's even off, but it likes it. Coal at 3.8 tons. I'm not going to worry about dealing with that right now. We'll just, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to go ahead and continue to do the water. Fill that up at least. And then what we're going to do is we're already set up to come through. And we're going to ride the back of this all the way to the other end of the yard. I don't know how much water this one takes. It's almost up there. So yeah, kicking saves moves. Now, had I been smart and watched my water, I would have saved the move and done it while I was down here with all those cars. But, alas. And sometimes you don't kick it far enough. Sometimes you don't give enough brake. That's not the end of the world there because you can run through the switches. It's not in CTC territory, so if you do run through the switches, again, it's not the end of the world. The switches will turn. Generally speaking, the train in road mode will not go through switches that it's against it. But the cars that have kicked will. So we're almost at the 4,000 gallon mark, which will be full. There we go. So for the sake of this tutorial, I'm only going to show the one. First of all, we're going to go in reverse. I'm going to put myself at full speed here. This doesn't mean we're going to go 45 miles an hour. In fact, the track speed is 25 miles an hour. So we're going to let it go ahead and do it. Whatever it wants to do is fine by me. I don't know what the yard speed is, per se. There might be rules against going too fast, but right now it's saying, you see, now it's down to 20 for those switches. Now the AI will not honk at crossings. You, however, can for him. So you can press and hold shift and see, now it's up to 35. Sounds a little bit too much. We'll get it down to 15. So you can control the speed and tell him what you want to do. Now that we're on the main part here. Now we already set another switch, I believe. I'll double check on that. I know we set a switch at this end. So here, this will be easier for later on. You won't see this in this tutorial, but if you subscribe to me, you will possibly see it in another video, maybe even tonight. Okay. Did I? Yeah, I got there. Okay. So now I can be the conductor and I can just walk ahead and decide which one do I want. Well, the one that I want, I believe, is the second last track, which actually is the normal track here because this is the caboose track. So if I can go down and run here just to confirm, that's the Brighton Freight House. I'm going to show you the differences between the road and the yard and how they act. Like I said, with kicking, I like to use road only because I can control the speed, although you can certainly do, you certainly can go with the other. So we're going to go ahead 15 miles an hour. And you'll see the AI handles the train very well. It's very fuel efficient. I don't know much about steam and all the other stuff. So everything down here is where I needed and reached to shove it that way. With the exception of this, but that's okay because we're going to move in and go right to this track. Now notice it's saying status EJ and E orders 15 miles an hour. Well, it's not really going to go that far. So we're going to go ahead and stop it. Road mode acts as if you were running a main line. It is not acting as if you were switching. So it's going to stop you from any obstructions. That is why when we kicked it and the car separated right away, the train immediately stopped. In fact, it stopped on a dime pretty much. I don't know if that's an exploit or if it's really stopping that quick. It probably doesn't stop that quick, but that's a safety feature more or less. Still, we weren't going that fast, although, you know, perhaps in some more realistic setting down the road, maybe it would have to roll a little bit further. Still, it was going to go, even with brakes, it would have slowed down enough to get behind me. So I'm just going to hit Control P here and do that because I like screenshots. I'm going to go ahead and click the yard button here. With the yard button, you got various things. Now, be very careful what you're doing here. This is more than 20 cars. If you hit 20, chances are that train is going to run into that coupler at a very high rate of speed. It'll do so at the end of the track as well, which will cause damage. You need to be on top. You are the eyes of the conductor, despite the fact that he's right here. So you're telling him how far to go based on what you're seeing. Maybe he's paying attention to the controls, although he should be looking ahead as well. But in cases where you have a bunch of cars behind you or in front of you that you're shoving or pulling or whatever, you are the eyes. So you are giving him the instructions. Despite that, he is going to go as far as you tell him. And he will only stop once a connection has been established. We're going to go ahead with 10. It's probably a little bit less. That's okay. He'll honk to let us know that he's going. You're going to have to guess. Still has that in front of us. But as you can see, he's not slowing down much. So now we're going to go to 5. And about 2. 1. Half a car. Ah, didn't quite get on it. So we'll say half a car more. It's better to stop sooner than later. And he stops. Press and hold shift and you will see that this will go with that. Just like how we pressed and hold shift before, that will uncouple and close both angle cocks. Now we want to go and take a look down here. Again, we can use the kick. But we don't have to kick it that far. We can be pretty deliberate here. So to save ourselves from going all the way down there, we can go ahead and pop up here. Just check those switches. Better be double checking. Yeah, we're okay. So we're going right into that. That's fine. Let's go. Again, you can take a look at that, but basically I like to count ties or get a pretty approximation from ties. Once again, I'm going to switch over to road. 15 is fine. I'm ready to do the shift click here. Ah, what's happening? Something ain't right. The other thing I forgot to do... Oh, sorry, I didn't. So what happens is when you kick, the brakes come on. That little purple right there is telling you the brakes are on. And when you have these open up, an exclamation mark will go in front. Now, this looks kind of backwards, actually, compared to if you were standing this way. It doesn't go to which way you're standing. So, basically, it starts there. So, what's happened is, remember, these were all kicked before. Well, the brake's on. We forgot to let it go. Well, we better do that. And he won't go. Let's try this again. Put ourselves to 15. We're going to actually decouple at 10. But I want to get ourselves to 15 so we get this no problem. Good enough. Train stopped. We're okay. Hit the tab to get that out of the way. So now I'm going on visual cues, but I can also look behind me and see where I am. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. That's one way of finding out. But here we got a visual cue. So we're going to go ahead and get ourselves not too far, but far enough. And right there. That's going to hit hard. Ah. A little too aggressive. If I hit tab, though, now we got our money for that. And I could go as far down there. Maybe I went a little too far, obviously. But that's okay. If you want to check for damage, press and hold this. Fortunately, it was stopping well enough before 5 miles an hour. You can run into the bumper. I press and hold control on the car. That will tell you. I think Silver Wheels tells you or something like that. I can't see it as well. Press and control on that one. Everything's 100%, so we're good. I do have cars that are down to 99%, 98% because of some rough moves. Very minor cost. So now he's because this is no longer green and this is gray, and we're highlighting this. This shows you the track that it has to be on, or the catchment area, which of course extends only to that one truck. But as long as the truck is holding, it'll take it. And the light green that was there is gone. You can see over here we got light green, light yellow. That means it still has to go in place. But when it's darkened, that means it's in place. This will go ahead. You can also tell what it's doing, and if you watch it long enough, you will see the tonnage go up or go down. But we don't want to watch paint dry. I think that was at 30 tons of dimensional lumber, and it's unloading. I don't know where that was. Hard to say. But the brake is on because we did set it at the end, so we're fine there. And the beautiful thing about all that, oh, by the way, we're set at the bottom. If you want to just get back to your engine, just click over here, and you're now selected back to the engine, and you can continue switching the yard. So if you like what you see here, feel free to subscribe. I'm trying to get myself up to 1,000 subscribers. I think I'm around 920 right now, so been around for a little over 10 years, covering train sims and a few other things, but I tend to be loyal to certain train sims that catch my admiration, and this one certainly has. It is a really, really good sim, and I think I'll be spending a lot of time here. So if you have any questions or comments, do write them below. You can either write them below on YouTube, or you can check me up on Discord. I don't mind personal messages to me if you have any questions there as well. The alias over there is Survivor Sean, YouTube Sean Merle, RTS. But if you have any other tutorials you'd like to see and I'm able to help, I certainly look at all the views, and I will do my best to try and help you, or even if you have simple questions of anything here or anything else that you can think of. But that'll be it for this video for now, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to my regularly scheduled videos and continue this yard. Like I said, you know, I do a video usually once a day these days, sometimes more, and live streams a lot of times on Saturdays. So anyways, thanks for checking us out, and take care.